They call us heroes, protectors, symbols. We wear the colors red, white, and blue stitched into our suits like a second skin. But what does it actually feel like to be an American superhero? Not the comic book version. Not the Hollywood fantasy, the real thing. It feels like carrying the weight of 330 million people on your shoulders and knowing you can't save them all. It feels like being pulled in 1,000 directions at once, each one screaming that they need you more than the last. It feels like standing at the intersection of power and responsibility, where every choice you make echoes through lives you'll never meet. Let me tell you what a day really looks like. Every morning starts the same way. You wake up as you, just a person. Maybe you make coffee, maybe you scroll through the news. Maybe you think about calling your mother, seeing that friend you've been meaning to catch up with, finally fixing that leaky faucet in your bathroom. For about 30 seconds, you're normal, you're human, you have the same mundane concerns as everyone else. Then the world reminds you what you are. Your phone buzzes, or your enhanced hearing picks up screams from 3 miles away, or you see smoke rising on the horizon. Bank robbery in Brooklyn, hostage situation in Houston, bridge collapse in Seattle, chemical spill in Detroit, tornado touchdown in Oklahoma. Pick one, there's always something. There are always people in danger. There are always lives hanging in the balance, waiting for someone, waiting for you to do something about it. And here's the thing about being an American superhero specifically. This country is enormous. 3.5 million square miles stretching from the Atlantic to the Pacific, from the frozen reaches of Alaska to the tropical islands of Hawaii. 4 time zones in the continental United States alone. While you're stopping a disaster in New York, someone in California is watching it on the news and wondering why you weren't there for them instead. Someone in rural Montana is dealing with their own crisis, invisible to the 24-hour news cycle, wondering if heroes only care about big cities and camera crews. You can't be everywhere. Logistically, physically, it's impossible, but they expect you to try. No, they demand that you try. And when you can't, when you have to make the choice between saving one person and saving another, between stopping one tragedy and allowing another to unfold, the guilt becomes another weight added to the pile you're already carrying. The American dream promises that anyone can be anything, that hard work and determination can overcome any obstacle. But when you actually become something more, when you gain the power to fly, to stop bullets, to move mountains, the dream comes with a bill. And you pay it in guilt, exhaustion, and impossible choices that keep you awake at 3 in the morning, staring at the ceiling, replaying the moments where you turned left instead of right, wondering if that choice cost someone their life. You suit up, not in some dramatic transformation with swelling music and perfect lighting. You put on your costume piece by piece, methodically, like someone putting on a work uniform. Except your work uniform is a target, a symbol, a flag made of fabric and hope and expectations so heavy they could crush steel. Every piece of that costume carries meaning. The colors connect you to a legacy of American heroism stretching back decades. The symbol on your chest, whatever it is, a star, an eagle, a shield, represents something larger than yourself. It tells people who you are before you ever open your mouth. It makes you recognizable to millions. It makes you vulnerable to anyone who wants to hurt you or the people you love. Because that's another thing they don't talk about. Being recognizable is a weakness. When you wear your identity on your chest, when your face is plastered across every newspaper and website and television screen in the country, privacy becomes a luxury you can no longer afford. Enemies know exactly who to target. And in America, land of the free press and the First Amendment, there are no secrets. Investigative journalists will dig into every aspect of your life. Bloggers will analyze your every move. Someone will eventually figure out who you really are, if you even have a secret identity to protect. Some heroes embrace it. They go public, do interviews, write memoirs, capitalize on their fame. Others spend their entire lives running from it, changing addresses, cutting ties with everyone they love, living in isolation to keep those people safe. There's no right answer. There's just the choice you make and the consequences you live with. But there are moments, there are moments that make it all worth it. Like when you're flying through the city and you see a kid on a rooftop wearing your symbol on their chest, and they wave at you with such pure, unfiltered joy that you remember what it felt like to believe in heroes yourself. When you pull someone from the rubble of a collapsed building and they sob into your shoulder, and you realize that for this one person, in this one moment, you were everywhere they needed you to be. When a letter arrives from someone you saved years ago, telling you they just graduated college or got married or had a baby, and they wanted you to know that the life you saved is being lived fully. Those moments are oxygen. They're the reason you keep going when everything else tells you to stop. Being an American superhero means being a symbol. But what symbol? That's where it gets complicated, where the weight becomes almost unbearable. In America, nothing is simple. This is a country built on contradictions, founded on principles of freedom by people who own slaves, a nation that promises equality while struggling with systemic inequality, a democracy that's constantly questioning what democracy actually means. And when you become a superhero here, you inherit all of those contradictions. You become a canvas onto which people project their own beliefs, their own version of what America should be. Half the country thinks you're a vigilante who operates above the law, accountable to no one, a dangerous precedent that undermines the justice system and democratic institutions. They write op-eds about how you represent everything wrong with American exceptionalism, how you're a power fantasy that ignores the importance of collective action and systemic change. They demand regulation, oversight, accountability. The other half thinks you don't do enough, that you're too concerned with optics and politics when you should be out there cracking skulls and taking names. They want you to be tougher, more aggressive, more willing to cross lines in pursuit of justice. They criticize you for every villain who escapes, every criminal who gets away, every threat you neutralize without permanent finality. Congress debates whether you should be regulated, whether superheroes should be licensed, registered, monitored. Should you be allowed to cross state lines in pursuit of threats? Should you be granted legal immunity for collateral damage? Should you be required to reveal your identity to the government? Both sides have compelling arguments. Both sides genuinely believe they're protecting the American people. You're caught in the middle, trying to do the right thing, while politicians use you as a talking point in their campaigns. Cable news argues about whether you're a menace or a savior, and the answer depends entirely on which channel you're watching. Conservative pundits praise you for upholding law and order, then criticize you when you defend protesters' rights. Liberal commentators applaud your commitment to justice, then question why you work within a system they view as fundamentally broken. You can't win. Every action is interpreted through a dozen different ideological lenses, each one finding something to praise and something to condemn. Social media, well, let's just say everyone has opinions. Strongly held, loudly expressed, often uninformed opinions. You trend on Twitter every other day, sometimes because you saved 1,000 people, sometimes because your costume choice was deemed problematic, sometimes because you were spotted eating at a restaurant owned by someone who once donated to a controversial cause. The internet never forgets, never forgives, and never stops talking. You become a Rorschach test. People see in you what they want to see. Your patriotism incarnate to some, a living embodiment of American values, the spirit of truth and justice wrapped in a cape. To others, you're a reminder of American imperialism, the same interventionist attitude that's gotten the country into trouble abroad now applied domestically. You're a corporate mascot who sells merchandise and does commercial endorsements. You're a freedom fighter standing up for the powerless. You're a fascist enforcing the status quo. You're a socialist undermining private property rights. You're a celebrity who loves the spotlight. You're a soldier who never asked for this burden. And you're just trying to keep people from dying. You're just trying to stop the building from collapsing, to talk the jumper down from the ledge, to get the family out of the burning house before the roof caves in. You're not thinking about politics or symbolism, or what this will look like on the evening news. You're thinking about breath and heartbeats, and whether you can move fast enough to make a difference. But that's not how it works when you're an American superhero. Everything is political. Everything is symbolic. Everything matters to someone somewhere, who will use it to support their argument about what's wrong or right with this country. Here's what they don't show in the movies, what they don't put on the lunchboxes and the posters: the loneliness. The crushing, suffocating loneliness of being someone that everyone knows but no one truly understands. You can't have normal relationships when you disappear mid-conversation because a dam is breaking in Colorado. You can't build intimacy when you're keeping secrets about who you really are and what you really do.